Good evening, everybody. I almost forgot to do the video again today, but it's like almost. Let me just check underneath here. It's 11:06 currently, um, on Saturday, and honestly, I wasn't really too excited about doing this video, mostly because the game was not really anything special. It was the third place playoff game between Belgium and England. Neither team probably wanted to have much to do with it. Belgium were probably more encouraged to do so than England were, just because I feel like England had it. They were so close to advancing to the final, and then they didn't. So they probably were. They took more of the emotional hit. They were also less rested than Belgium were. So ultimately, I think Belgium were in a better position to win it, and this was the farthest they had gotten, I believe, as a nation, and indeed winning the game 2-0 means that they placed third, which puts them at the highest or farthest that they've ever advanced in a World Cup, which is good for Belgium. So England, takeaways from this tournament are going to be that, like I said last video, they're young, and a lot of these players are going to be around for many years to come. I mean, like we're talking at least a decade, if not more, for a lot of these players. For Belgium, it's kind of now or never, and by now or never I mean the Euros, 2020 Euros are going to be the probably next big championship that if they don't really succeed there, it's going to be tough to see them doing well. They do have decent talent, but they're all in their prime, so they're going to be at the end of their career. So unless they get some young talent coming through, it might be a little bit hard. But we'll just have to see. Some teams go with the cycle. Other teams can just pump out players like nobody's business, like Germany. But yeah, so we'll have to see. And, those two teams are on planes home. And tomorrow we'll figure out who's going to win this whole damn thing anyway. It's what we've been working up towards for weeks now, and it's certainly going to be interesting, or it's going to be completely uninteresting depending on the results, and I'll get to explaining that soon. So we've got France, a country of 60 some odd million people, who are going up against Croatia, who have a population, I believe, of 4.3. There are if Croatia were a city in the United States, it would be the 15th biggest city. I believe it would be like the 27th largest state. And by largest, I mean, there'd be 27 or 26 states that are bigger than that. So this is a pretty small nation. I believe it's the second smallest ever to get to a final, after Uruguay, who were, I think, a few million less than them when they got to the final in like 1930s and all that stuff. So this is not this is a kind of a golden generation type deal with Croatia. It's what I mean by that is that they've got so much talent in this generation, but the next generation is kind of questionable, and you wonder about Croatia, certainly because of just the sheer quality of players like Luka Modric and Rakitic and all the other players that Croatia have. So that being said, I think that this game could go one of two ways. The first way is going to be the boring way that everyone's going to hate with or have beef with, and that's France completely and utterly steamrolls Croatia. And that would be like basically going 3-0 up in the first half and scoring like one or two more in the second half. It would just be ridiculous. It would be annoying, and it wouldn't be fun for anybody. And I say that that's a possibility because of how many games Croatia have played to 120 minutes. They have got a day less rest. France have more rest than them. They haven't played any game to 120 minutes, and they match up really well in the midfield. So there are the players to watch are going to be N'Golo Kante and Paul Pogba. They are the midfield workhorses, more so Kante. He's absolutely the best defensive midfielder of pretty much, at least I've seen in pretty much ever. He just has this knack to snuff out counterattacks before they happen, pick up loose balls, tackle players, and he's 5'6", but he plays like he's about 6'4", and there are 3 of them. So he's just got this knack that makes him just an unstoppable force in the midfield. And Paul Pogba, and with Conte there, Paul Pogba can push up and do what he does best, which is play make and play in the opposition's half of the field. However, Croatia have been basically powered by their midfield. Luka Modric has run, I think the number was nearly 40 miles total this entire tournament, which is something that's absolutely ridiculous for a soccer player to do. And you would expect him, most players typically run, maybe I think it's like, I would say the range is like 5 to 8 miles per game, and he's definitely pushing that every time, that 8-mile border every time, which just means that he's running all over the field, making plays, making tackles, passing the ball around, running up the field on counterattacks. And I wouldn't be surprised if most of his teammates did a lot of running too. So the names, Modric, Rakitic are, again, those are players who they play at great teams. Modric at Real Madrid, Rakitic at Barcelona. So, and they play very similar in that, they tackle and really they stifle the midfields really well. So it's going to be a battle of the midfields. Whoever wins that battle in the midfield is going to win the game, and I'm certain of that. Many people are going to say the same exact thing, is that this is going to be a battle of the midfields, ultimately, because whoever can get more chances to their strikers is gonna win the day, because their strikers aren't too much to look at. Mario Mandzukic for Croatia is pretty good, and England saw how lethal he was when he gets a chance. So if Croatia do get their chances and he's on form, he can finish. For France, I worry about Olivier Giroud, who is their number 9 big striker. He's kind of struggled to find the net. In fact, he has no goals in the tournament so far, despite playing a lot of minutes. So we'll see if what happens there and whether or not he can really make an impact. But ultimately, whoever gets the chance first is going to win. Or whoever, wins that midfield and gets more chances is going to have more opportunities for their players to score. Though with Giroud, it's more of a case of, can he link up with players like Paul Pogba? Can he link up with players like Kylian Mbappe, the 19-year-old kid who's basically the Flash in terms of his speed, and just his skill is very wicked. So I think France are probably going to play this pretty conservatively and try and get Croatia on the break. If they can stretch the game out and make Croatia run, I think they have a better chance of winning overall, just from the fact that Croatia will suffer in fitness. They will suffer in the fact that they are exhausted. But they've proven in these past 3 games they can, work back from a goal down. But like I said, I think I mentioned it last video. It was, France really, if they go up by 2 goals, it's probably going to be a done deal, because I don't see France giving up more than one goal, and Croatia, having much of a fight to get more than one goal back, to claw their way back to, tie it up. It's going to be really tough. So that could be it could be a really close game in that it's, 1-0 for a while, or, it's 0-0 and somebody finds a goal. So it's going to be one of, either the slaughter, or it's going to be this just massive, just slugfest in the midfield. So hopefully it's the latter rather than the former. We'll just have to see. I'm going to go to McNally's down in St. Charles and view it and see what happens. Unfortunately, I'm not going to bring a picnic table. I'm not going to waste that. Although the joke would be funny for about 5 minutes, it would be, I don't know, pointless to waste my money on Croatia, especially if bad things happen. So I'll just go see what happens. Hopefully, there's going to be a good atmosphere. At least a lot of people who are enjoying the World Cup. But tomorrow is it. We'll figure out who's going to win the World Cup, whether France are going to win it for the second time, or Croatia are going to win it for the first time ever for them, which would be a massive achievement. And honestly, I'm pretty sure everybody, I even saw a picture of somebody who basically put a Croatian flag of everywhere, all European countries except France, basically would support Croatia. It was his joke of saying that pretty much everyone is going to be against France, and I'm definitely among those people, because nobody wants to see France win. Certainly, it would be nice to see a lovely goal from like Kylian Mbappe and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, nobody likes the big bad evil wolf. Everybody likes the underdog. Everybody likes the dog with a fight. And I think it's going to be interesting to see for sure. It's the final of the World Cup, and then we won't have another big tournament for 2 years at least, for Europe, and then 4 years again for the World Cup, which has its own problems. But I think the defining thing is going to be, it's not the what is it? It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight of this. It's the fight of the dog, or something. The size of the dog in the fight. It's the fight of the dog. The size of the fight in the dog. That's what it is. So that's probably going to be the story, the quote and line to do it. It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. That's going to determine it, and certainly France is the bigger dog, and Croatia have to really come at them hard. So we shall see. Hope y'all enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in for all these videos. I've enjoyed just talking to myself about it, and enjoying a little bit of a back and forth with some of the people, but hopefully I've been able to at least shed some light on certain people who may not have tuned in to certain matches, and hopefully I've at least bugged people enough to tune in even if they don't watch these videos. So thanks for watching, and I may see you next year with the Women's World Cup. We shall just have to see. So signing off for now.